are cooked perfect. If you want them soggy, you tell me, but they're cooked perfectly.
Oh, what?
So
You just want anger. Like, yeah, what's the anger about?
look, let me tell you, pay your tab, pay your tab.
No, we don't want to pay him.
You don't have to take it, just pay your tab.
If it didn't get eaten,
Because you got to pay for it, you ordered it. Don't leave here because the cops will be following you.
You need to calm down.
like,
You have a
big
disgusting attitude.
We calmly
You
sit
come
this
out
stuff
here
back.
and you just don't even.
Trying
you
to
don't
rip me off.
But you don't even hear what she has to say before you just start
I've
being so
looked at the
aggressive.
food. The food is
Looking at it
perfect.
has
You're looking
nothing
at
to do
you and
with
how
it.
it tastes.
I know how it tastes because I've been doing it for 20 years.
But
okay?
your attitude is
Okay,
disgusting.
then don't come back.
Your delivery is
Don't
white as fuck.
come back.
Don't worry, you won't get another
Pay.
fucking dollar up. Look, go ahead, man. This
You're
ain't
the
even
one
for us.
dropping the F-bombs, ma'am.
This ain't
Pay
for
your
us because my
tab.
nerves is too bad to be doing your nasty ass attitude.
Pay your tab.
Look, I'm
Are cooked perfect. If you want them soggy, tell me, but they're cooked perfectly.
Oh, what?
So
You
take-
just want anger. Like, yeah, what's the anger about?
Look, let me tell you, pay your tab, pay your tab.
No, we don't want to pay him.
You don't have to take it, just pay your tab.
If it didn't get eaten,
Because you got to pay for it, you ordered it. Don't leave here because the cops will be following you.
You need to calm down.
like,
You have a
big
disgusting attitude.
We calmly
You
sit
come
this
out
stuff
here
back.
and you just don't even.
Trying
you
to
don't
rip me off.
But you don't even hear what she has to say before you just start
I've
being so
looked at the
aggressive.
food. The food is
Looking at it
perfect.
has
You're looking
nothing
at
to
you
do
and
with
how
it.
it tastes.
I know how it tastes because I've been doing it for 20 years.
But
okay?
your attitude is
Okay,
disgusting.
then don't come back.
Your delivery is
Don't
white as fuck.
come back.
Don't worry, you won't get another
Pay.
fucking dollar up. Look, go ahead, man. This
You're
ain't
the
even
one
for us.
dropping the F-bombs, ma'am.
This ain't
Pay
for
your
us because my
tab.
nerves is too bad to be doing your nasty ass attitude.
Pay your
Look,
tab.
I'm
Or cook.
Did y'all pick up on it? This is one of them times where sisters expect you to have their back, but did you pick up on it? And this is as objective as it can get. Okay, the video starts in the middle of an altercation. A bunch of black women sitting at a table, don't know where this is, don't know where the location is, but they're sitting at a table and they're obviously complaining about the food's not cooked right, therefore it doesn't taste right, right? But the owner comes over there and the camera turns on, obviously mid-confrontation, but yet they're cleaning their plate. They're literally putting their plate in the takeout box. Now, if the food is so nasty that you can't bear to eat it, then why are you clearing your plate? You know, what you do is you leave the food there and you say the food is terrible, and then you walk out. Then you'll have a case for not paying for the meal that you didn't eat. But they're actually sitting there eating, or not only eating the food, but taking the food with them and then arguing that it doesn't taste right. And I don't know what that's supposed to lead up to. They didn't say anything explicit about not paying the bill, but the owner presumed that basically they're trying to, as he stated, rip them off. And what is up with the woman, the woman that dropped the F-bomb at the table? Like, what is up with her, like, masculine tone? Like, this is what we talk about when we talk about some of these women's masculine tone. The two women in front of the camera, obviously overweight. It's just not a good look. It's not a good look. And this goes right into, something that I was going to talk about. It's just not a good look. Overweight, weevilicious, yeah, they got makeup on, but this whole look, this whole manufactured black woman look, I don't particularly freaking care for it. But all them being overweight, acting like they don't, like they're picky about their food and everything. And I'm like, but y'all big, y'all look like y'all eat hearty all the time. Like, it's just all of it together is just not a good look, in my opinion. And then the fact that they're trying to make an argument about the food's not cooked right and we have a problem with this, which is fine. I've been to places and the food is not cooked right. Most of the time, I get the food, I pay for the food, and I won't come back there. And I've seen restaurants clear out because of that. And people are like, hey, why is I haven't seen you in a while. How come you haven't come by? Because I tend to go to places that I frequent, I'm a noticeable guy. So, I bartenders will ask me, because it affects them. Usually that's how, it gets back to the management, because the bartenders have less people that they're serving. They only make their money off of, tips and, beer and alcohol and shit like that. And if the food is terrible, a lot of people just don't go. When you get older, you just don't go to places just to drink. You go there to drink and eat. And if the food is terrible, I can drink anywhere, but I can't get a proper meal there. So I just stopped going. And so, that's what ended up happening. A lot of people ended up leaving this particular bar that I'm thinking about in my head, and they started going somewhere else because the food was better over there. But if the food is terrible, I may eat it once, realize. I remember one time I got these onion wings, and the onion rings, not wings, onion rings were just, they were just overcooked. They were just terrible. And I think I ordered them twice. They were like falling apart, like the onion was falling out of the onion. It was just terrible. And so I just stopped going there altogether, and they, won't see a dime, and so it's kind of like a collective, collective vote, I guess, so to speak. If okay, you want to say your food is delicious and everything else, all right, well, let's see what the people think, and over time, they're getting less and less customers, less and less people start showing. If you got banging food, your place is going to be crowded all the time. But if your food is terrible, people, it's just going to, you're going to see it in the amount of people who don't walk through the door. That's where you're going to see it. So I don't jump up and down when people have terrible food. I just don't go back. Like, it's all that simple. I say, fuck it. I was like, I'll take this L, and I just don't go back there. That's all there is to it. But it does seem like they're trying to get out of the bill. But my thing, the part that got me, the part that just, I'm like, this shit doesn't make any sense. I'm like, you're saying, you bring the manager over there, the owner, you're saying the food is terrible, but then you're scraping it into your takeout, your little black box. You're scraping it into your takeout black box. But the food, what was terrible? Was it one item that was terrible? Even if it was one item that was terrible, you still don't sit there and try to take the rest of the food and then justify not paying for the meal with the one item that you claim that, was not to your satisfaction. That's not how that works. If you don't touch the food, if you don't eat the food, or you took one bite and you're like, this isn't cooked right, you have a case. But when you're trying to literally have takeout boxes at the same time that you're arguing, the food is not cooked right, and then on top of that feel justified in not paying the bill, that's not going to be a good look, and some people will argue, he's being racist because he's telling them that they got to pay their bill. Why are you telling that to black women? Look, at this point, it's pretty clear, in my opinion, that, especially the way that they responded to him saying paying the bill, and, they're back and forth, because she gave some pushback on that. And I'm like, oh yeah, it does look like you're trying to rip them off. And the only reason the main reason I'm saying that is because you're clearing your damn plate. You're saying the food is horrible, but you're clearing your plate. Anyway, this is a bad look. I'm sure, a number of people are going to have a bunch to say about it. I'll be looking forward to Pink Book Lessons speaking on this if it hasn't already been spoken on. But like I said, a lot of women, they come out with the, oh, y'all making us look bad. Y'all talking about, no, this is the fact that it's just like with cops. You know what I mean? It's like cops have always had their reputation in the black community about their behavior and what they do and the crimes that they commit against the black community. And now it's being recorded. And I'm saying, when black women are out in public, like, shit is being recorded. And you know what? I just realized something. And that's another thing, because who had the camera in this situation? Was it some white people off on the side that said, oh, let's record this scene? No, this was put out there by the woman herself. This was put out there by them. They put this out there. So now we get to analyze it and break it down and talk about it and everything else. But I'm like, the black woman herself put this video out there. She put this out there. Ain't nobody put this out here to try to make her look bad, which means that when she put it out there, she felt that she was justified. And this is the whole, the whole miscommunication, misunderstanding between, how the world perceives a lot of African American women and how they perceive themselves. I mean, this is the delusion. I'm like, why would you put this out there? What did you think? How you think people were going to take your side on this? Not while your girlfriend is sitting across from you cleaning her plate, acting like she's not going to pay. I'm like, nah. Had y'all got up and walked away with some dignity, then and said this food is terrible. We're just not doing it. That's okay, and walked out. Oh, I'm calling the cops. You call the cops. The food is sitting right there on the table. The food is terrible. We're not paying, whatever exorbitant prices or whatever it is for this food that is terrible. I didn't eat. I'm not paying. Plain and simple. I'm saying they at least would have had a case then. But to sit there and scrape your plate into the takeout box as you're complaining about how terrible the food is so that you can try to find to justify not paying for it. I'm sure that's not the first time that owner has had to deal with that. People do try to do, bullshit like that. Just like the teenage kids in, I think they're teens and adults, but the kids in New York that killed that cab driver with that, the one guy who punched him in the head and he fell back. And now you got this, immigrant family, without, the breadwinner, the wife was up there. That shit was really sad. You know what I mean? But like now, like in 2022 with the economy and everything else, yeah, there's a lot of people trying to, get over on people and walk out on, tabs for service, walk out on, not pay for Ubers, not pay for cab, run out of the Uber. There's people doing all type of foul stuff like that. And I'm sure this has happened multiple times to people in the service industry. I've seen waitresses crying and whatnot, and you're like, why is she crying? What happened? And they had a big table, and the table just ran out on them. Freaking, well in the hundreds of dollars in tabs, and she's been servicing them for the last hour, and they all just, dip out. And then sometimes the house will be like, well, you have to cover this because they walked out on you, and that's why certain places have policies. You got to give them your credit card, prematurely and everything. But a lot of people get offended by stuff like that. And especially if it starts rolling in the direction of, the racial bias. And black people know that there's an issue with this because a lot of us who don't do that, we end up over tipping in order to compensate for this. I don't even know where it came from, but this reputation that black people don't tip. Now I've had some waiters, counter that and tell me that that's totally not true, that black people tend to be some of the best tippers, but there still is this racist stereotype out here that black people don't tip, or black people are horrible tippers, or that black people will walk out, on the meal after eating it because you'll have like a high profile case of some black people doing that at a Denny's or something, and it's all caught on camera or something like that. That gets put out there all the time, but you don't see that with white folks. But if you go and you ask, some waitresses that have dealt with, or waiters that have dealt with, all classes of people and all types of people, they'll tell you, no, I've had white people walk out on the tab. I've had black people walk out on the tab, Hispanic people walk out on the tab. You just got to ask around. But anyway, I'm pretty much done with this video. So let me end this. I just wanted to, point out what I saw. But that's all I got to say. That's my video. SWP out. Don't forget to comment, share, like, and subscribe.